Welcome to something a little bit different from what I usually upload on my channel. I'm not playing any games, but I am going to be talking about the consoles that we play games on. And I'm going to compare the Xbox Series X to the Xbox Series S and tell you why I think you should buy one of these consoles over the other. I'm not comparing everything, there's loads of videos that do that, but there's just one area that I think it kind of makes one of them a no-brainer, and I want to bring that to your attention. And I also want to invite you to comment and let me know which of these two or the two PS5 consoles you're buying and tell me why. So we've got the Series X and we've got the Series S. I currently already have a Series S, basically because I saw one was available on pre-order, so I snapped it up nice and quickly. It's a brilliant console. I do see a big difference between the One X and the Series S. I like it, I'm glad I've bought it, but I'm not currently at home. I'm currently in England visiting family, and I intend to leave it here so that every time I come back to England, this console is available for me. But when I do get back home, I intend to buy Series X rather than another Series S, and I want to tell you why that is on this video. So we have the Series S, which sells for $249.99 standalone, which is cheap. It's very accessible. It's a brilliant console for that price. Certainly worth upgrading if you've got the original One, and I also think it's worth upgrading if you've got the One X as well. That's what I've come from, and I'm seeing improvements, so it's definitely worth going for this. And we've also got the Series S, which is $449 on a standalone, so there's a £200 difference. Now obviously the Series X is more powerful than the Series S. And now if you look at the numbers, how many teraflops and all that stuff, it's quite impressive. The numbers are really big on the X compared to the S, but when it gets really boils down to playing an actual game, there's not a significant noticeable difference between the two. If you've got an S, you're going to be by what it's presenting to you anyway. There's not a huge difference between these two consoles when you're looking at them both side by side. I'm not going to do a comparison like that, but there are loads of videos on YouTube where you can see comparisons of the X and the S, and they're so similar. So why am I going for the X when there's that £200 difference? Well, this is the reason, okay? For me, the biggest factor on these two that sets them apart is this, the internal SSD. This is what enables you to do quick resume, and it also enables you to have those wonderful fast loading times, which for me are the most important thing on this new console. Now on the Series X, it's 1TB, which is pretty good. On the S, it's 512 gig. Now on my Series S, I've got about 5 games installed, and I'm at maximum capacity. Okay, I can't install games. Now that's not enough. I want more games on there because I play more than 5 games very regularly. I want about 8 or 9 games that I can jump between, resume, and I can take advantage of those fast loading times with the SSD. So I'm already needing an external drive. Obviously Microsoft do sell an external SSD drive, and once we've bought that, we can have games on there which they do the quick resume and they load quickly. So I've got to buy one of them. I feel like I've got to buy that already. Now with the Xbox Series S, it's got 1TB, so that's about double the space. I'd be able to fit about 10 games on there that I can jump around and play very quickly, and I don't have to wait for loading screens that last forever. That would do. I need about 8 or 9 games that I play regularly, so that would be enough. With the Xbox Series S, I wouldn't need to buy an external SSD. What I could do instead is continue using my external hard drive that I was using on my One X. It's a 3TB one. It's got loads of games on there. I can leave games on that, and then when I've played a game on the Series X and I've completed it, I can just swap them over. Now it's USB 3.0, so it's nice and quick, so I can move the games over fast, which works well for me because my internet is slow. So if I buy a game, it takes about 2 days for it to download. It is a real pain in the arse. But if I've downloaded the game to my external hard drive, when I want to play it, I can transfer it onto my console very quickly. So with the Series X, it already provides enough internal SSD storage for what I need. Whereas the Series S, did I say X or S before? Anyway, the X. But with the Series S, excuse me, it doesn't. It hasn't got a internal drive, so I need to get that external SSD to play the games I want to play. So that is the big difference between the two. So the Series S has saved us £200, but now we've got to buy this the external expansion thing. This is it. It's 1 TB. It's 220 quid. So now we've bought a console and an expansion card, and now that has cost us more money than buying the Series X in the first place. Now we do have more space. We've got about 1.5 TB over 1 TB, but 1 TB is enough. Now this is important. 512 gig is not enough. 1 TB is enough. 1.5 TB is a little bit overkill, and I don't need it. So I would say fork out a little bit more, save up for a little bit longer. The Series X with 1 TB of storage, and you'll have more than enough space for quite a lot of games for doing quick resume and loading them quickly. So about 8 games to go at a time, and you're going to be fine. If you try to save a couple of £100 by buying the S, I reckon in not much time at all you're going to be wanting to buy one of these, and when you buy one of these you might as well then have bought the X in the first place. Now obviously as we move on, games are getting bigger, so there's going to be even less games on the console. So I mean, for me, that 1 TB, I think that's going to be enough for me for quite a while, but the 512 certainly isn't. I'd have to buy one of these quite quickly. So that is the reason I think the Xbox Series X is an absolute no-brainer over the Xbox Series S. But obviously there are other differences as well, so if we just scroll on down, I mean a really important one of course is the X has got a disk drive. So it plays Blu-rays and it plays DVDs and it plays any games that you've got on disc. I haven't used the disk drive for God knows how long, but if I did need to use one, then I've got one, so that's pretty handy. So I don't think I'll ever use it, but it is pretty handy. I like of the X as well. I really do. I like the blackness of it, and it disappears into the shadows, whereas the S doesn't. I still like the look of the S. I think they're both very attractive consoles. This is obviously the processing power is a lot more on the X, but at the moment I don't think these numbers, I mean a 12 looks way better than a 4. It's always going to look better, you know, when you look at the actual number on a screen. But when you're looking at the game playing, there's not a massive difference between the two. But we're right at the beginning of this generation of consoles. You know, in a couple of years' time, when, you know, the game developers are squeezing out everything that they can and really taking advantage of the power of the X, we will see significant difference between a game on the S and a game on the X, but at the moment we're not really seeing that, but we certainly will in the future. This is another one as well. 1440p is good. That's enough. I mean, your eyes ain't super 4K. You can't pick up the definition in these pixels, but televisions are constantly getting bigger, and the bigger your TV gets, there's still the same number of pixels on there, but they've just got to fill a bigger space. So as we move forward as well, this true 4K is going to be, and you know, that's going to be a better thing. So yeah, there are quite a few things that of course are better on the X than the S, but there is a £200 difference. And I think for most of these things that we're looking at here, like the number of teraflops, you know, the resolution and that kind of stuff, I don't think if I spend in an extra 200 quid, they really do not, because the end result is it's not significantly different when you're playing a game. But it all comes down to that internal drive. On the X, it is big enough for you to have, you know, about 10 games going all the time on quick resume. And I don't know about you guys, but for me that's enough. And once I've finished playing a game, I can then swap them around, and I've always got about 10 on the go. Whereas the Series S, about 5 games on the go at a time, for me that simply isn't enough. It really isn't. So it means some of them are going to be on an external. They're either going to be on my current external hard drive, which means I've not got the quick resume and the quick load times, which is a bit crap really, because I'm excited about those things. So I would have to fork out for the external expansion SSD, and then I've spent more money than I would have done on the X. So as I said before, now I know I'm repeating myself, but that really does make it a bit of a no-brainer. I think the rest of these stats are the same for both. 3.1, 3 USB 3.1, so that's good. So, you know, the transfer is going to be nice and quick. My external hard drive, but obviously it's not going to support the quick resume and those super fast load times, because it's just a hard drive, it's not an SSD. So that's a shame. But there we go. That is my reason as to why I really think that the X is such a no-brainer over the S. I mean, I've got the S, it's good, it's a great console. If you absolutely can't afford to stretch to the extra £200 for the X, then go for the S. You won't regret it. It's a really nice console. But if you could just hang on for a while and you could say, right, I'll just wait for a couple more payments, I'll save up that extra 200 quid and I'll go for the X, you're going to be glad that you did, because in a few months' time, you're not going to be thinking, oh, I really need an expansion. I need an external SSD. Let's go buy one. And then when you go to buy one, you think, hang on a minute, these things are bloody expensive. £220. I mean, you can probably pick them up cheaper somewhere else. Maybe. I don't know how compatible a third-party one would be. I've not looked into it. But £220 just for the expansion card to be able to get your S to a point where you can play all the games you play with those quick resume and fast load times, that's too much money. It's way too much money. And obviously it's taking you up to 1.5 terabytes as opposed to just 1 terabyte from the X, but 1 is enough. 1.5 is a little bit overkill. So there we go, guys. Let me know what you think. What's your opinion of these two consoles? How do you compare them? Which one do you think is the better option, the better value for money? Which one are you going to buy? Which one have you already bought? Let me know your reasons behind that. Or if you're thinking about buying the PS5, which one of those are you going to buy? Correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't the PS5, both versions of it are exactly the same, apart from one of them is really ugly? That's the only difference, isn't it? One of them is just really ugly, where the other one is just a little bit ugly. Now, I'm not being an Xbox fanboy here. I think these two consoles, the S and the X, are very attractive consoles. I like the look of them. I think the PS5 looks horrible. It looks like old Sky Plus box. That's what it really looks like. I don't like either of them. The digital one is much nicer, but it's like they designed the digital one and then they thought, oh bugger, we forgot to put a disk drive on it. And then I was like, well, we can't fit it anywhere. What should we do? It's like, just stick it on the side. And that's what they've done for the disc version. It's just like, it just doesn't work. It's not been incorporated into the design at all. I mean, these two are completely different. I mean, they've designed both of these consoles completely independently from one another. Whereas PlayStation have designed the digital version, they didn't bother designing a disc version, and then they've just kind of like gaffered a CD drive to the side of it. It's just hideous. Why have they done that? It's insane. I can't understand the logic behind what they've done. And when you look at the digital version of the PS5, it doesn't take much imagination to think of a way of incorporating a disc drive into that general design, making the whole thing a little bit thicker or something, but keeping that symmetry and making it continue to look nice. I really think it's quite ugly, but I do obviously understand that, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and some people will think these consoles are ugly and that one's really beautiful. But I absolutely think that there can't be many people who are looking at the disc version of the PS5 and thinking that's a really sexy console. I mean, this thing here, I like the look of it, but it does look like something that you order your food through at a drive-thru. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's a bit unusual, isn't it? I like it. Mine's downstairs under my TV and I think it looks quite nice. I like this. I like it a lot. It's a lot smaller in real life than you think it is. It looks like this big, you know, powerful, dominating console. And I think that's because of the way they've advertised it with like camera angles from quite down low. But when you actually see it next to a controller, it's pretty small. But, I mean, where my controller goes when I'm back home is actually behind the TV, so you won't see it anyway. And the black one sort of like fades into the shadows, and I agree with that. But yeah, let me know, out of these two consoles or the other two, which one are you going to buy? And, well, I mean, what I was with, correct me if I'm wrong on the PS5, but isn't the PS5 digital and the PS5 disc version exactly the same all the way across the board? All the specs are the same, but one has a drive and one doesn't. Is that right or wrong? I mean, obviously, the Series X is more powerful than the Series S. There's quite a few things that are different between these two. So when you're deciding which one to buy, it ain't just down to, I don't use discs, I'm therefore going for the Series S. But with a PS5, it is that simple, isn't it? It's like, I don't use discs, I'm going for the digital version and saving a shitload of money because I never need to use the disc drive. Is that what it is? Or are they some specs beyond that that are different? Let me know in the comments either way. And course, do comment and let me know which of these consoles you have or you're buying, which one you think is the best deal. Taking all things into consideration, then tell me why you think that. I currently do have the S. I am going to be buying the X when I get back home. At the moment, I'm probably going to be leaving the Series S here, and whenever I visit family, I do stay here for quite a while sometimes. I try and keep uploading videos while I'm here, so I do need a console here, so I think I'm just going to leave it here for that reason. Originally I was thinking about taking it back home with me, but I thought no, I'm not going to do that, because I'll just buy one at home and I will buy the X. And when I do that, of course, I'll have played on both and I can see whether or not I think they're significantly different. Now, I was thinking when I play on the X, I'll be able to say whether or not I think £200 was worth it, but I'm going to judgment on that, because I don't think games are that different now. But as I said before, going a few years in the future, when the developers are starting to really squeeze every last bit of power out of these consoles, there probably will be a significant difference between a game on the X and then the same game on the S. I really think there will be once the actual game developers really start to push the consoles as much as they can, and we won't see that for a couple of years. But for me, I absolutely already need that expansion card on the S. I've run out of room. I want more games on there with quick resume. So for me, buying the X is already value for money, because the expansion cards for a 1TB one costs more money than the price difference of these two consoles. And I know I'm repeating myself when I say obviously the X is 1TB and the S is 512, so you're not getting 1TB extra by buying the X, whereas you are getting 1TB extra when you buy the external thing. But I think 1TB is enough if I couple that with my external hard disk drive. Right, I'm not going to repeat myself anymore, but yeah, leave comments, and I will see you in my next video, which will probably be continuing to play my Assassin's Creed playthrough. A couple of bits of news. The giveaway ends. Let's have a look. It's in here, so I can see exactly when it ends, and I can show you behind the scenes, and you can see how many people have ordered it already. So my current that I'm running through Gleam, so Assassin's Creed Valhalla ends in a day, and there's 409 people on that one. So if you want to get in and win that, then go over to KatumiGiveaways.com, where you can go and win a copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But you got to be quick, it ends tomorrow. But there are only 409 people on that one as well, and 4 days time Cyberpunk ends as well, and there's only 428 people on that. So if you want to win a copy of either one of these games, get in there quick. And the other thing, just one last little bit of news, I have bought a new capture card. The reason I've bought it is because my old one only had 1080p pass-through, whereas my new one has 4K pass-through, which is good, with HDR10. So obviously my games are going to look better for me playing them, whilst I'm also capturing them as well. But is better. The old one only captures at 30 FPS, whereas my new capture card will capture at 60 FPS. So when that arrives, hopefully within the next couple of days, you will see that the videos I'm uploading to YouTube will get a bit better, because they'll be moving up to 60 FPS over 30. Now my intention is to leave old capture card here in England with my Xbox Series S, and to take my new capture card home with me and couple it up with my Series X when I buy that. So I will still be capturing and videos whenever I visit England, but they'll be slightly lower quality compared to when I'm back home in Colombia. So there we go guys, leave some comments and I will see you soon. Take care, bye bye.